What's up, friends? So today we got a little bit of a treat. So it's a different video than I normally make, but I think it's still going to be beneficial for a lot of people, especially if you're looking into getting one of these or something similar. This might be an informational video that can help you make that final purchasing decision, Today, we're going to be reviewing the new Backbone 1 mobile controller. So this is a mobile controller that's been penetrating the mobile gaming space pretty quickly recently. I've seen some fantastic creators back this product, including the 100 Thieves team with Nature and Courage, as well as Mr. B spoken about it. Its popularity is gaining pretty quickly. So today I'm just going to be discussing a couple of the key features, doing the unboxing so you can get a sense as to what's in the box, what's in the package, what the controller looks like, how it feels. I'll describe in great detail everything about it. One quick thing before I begin the unboxing, this is not an ad or paid promotion from Backbone. So I'm not necessarily out here to get all of you to buy this product. Essentially, I'm just going to provide you with all the information you can possibly have so that you can make the decision for yourself on if you want to buy it or not. So because it's not paid, I will be mentioning some drawbacks, some negative aspects to it that might make or break your purchasing decision. So starting first with the box and the packaging, this is what the box looks like. Both sides have the Backbone logo or Backbone name imprinted in black on black, which is pretty awesome design choice in my opinion. It's really simplistic and clean design. The color scheme on this packaging is primarily black and white, which is really cool, except for one color splash, which I think was a fantastic design choice, which is the Backbone button. In terms of size, it's about 2 palm prints of mine. Surprisingly light. Now the controller itself is under 5 ounces, so super light. The point of this product is to make it as portable as possible, so they really focused on making sure it's super light and easy to carry, and you can definitely feel that in the product and in the packaging too. The packaging showcases a couple key components that really might help make your decision as to whether you purchase a product or not. And the first most important thing to know about the Backbone is that currently it's only compatible with iPhone. So if you have an Android, or if you're using Android as your primary platform right now, you're a little bit out of luck because it won't integrate with the Backbone system. The controller just won't work. Because of that, if you have an Android, I would not recommend purchasing this. I'm sure that the Backbone 2, or if they make some future iterations after they're perfected the Backbone 1, I'm sure that that controller may have Android capabilities. But as of right now, the Backbone 1, the one that I'm holding in my hand, does not have Android compatibility. Specifically for iPhone, the controller requires iOS 13 or higher. So I would recommend this controller for iPhone 6s and above. With me right now to test it out, I have the iPhone XS Max. This is my personal phone. It's one of the bigger phones, the iPhone XS Max, and so if this can fit in this controller, most other phones should be able to fit. The Backbone has a couple really cool built-in capabilities that helps it stand out from its competitors. Now, if you go on Amazon, if you go on Google and just type in mobile controller for iPhone, there are a lot of options, right? And a lot of them might be cheaper than the Backbone is currently. So if you want to purchase the Backbone today, you can purchase it off the app, you can purchase it online on their website, or currently you can purchase it through Amazon, and the running price is $99. So this controller is $100 essentially, and as of right now it comes with 3 months free of Game Pass Ultimate. Really dope because Backbone just got a collaboration with Xbox, and you can actually buy their controller on the Xbox website as well. But every controller comes with 3 months of Game Pass Ultimate. You can play essentially Xbox games like Doom, Eternal, fully remote on your iPhone. All it requires is a strong internet connection, and I would mainly, as of right now, recommend single-player games because the connection is not fully seamless in terms of iPhone to Xbox Game Pass and Xbox servers. So playing multiplayer, especially if you're up against people playing on their actual console, might be a huge disadvantage. But single player games work fantastically, and it's insane that you get to experience the full Xbox experience, you know, as if you have an Xbox One, but from the comfort of your own mobile phone. So a couple of the key features of this thing are with this capture button right here, and I don't know if you can see it clearly, I'm pointing to right here, it's on the left-hand side of the controller, and it's a capture button which actually allows you to capture in-game clips of whatever game you're playing. So this is a fantastic addition if you like to post gameplay video, whatever it may be, you can easily capture them with a click of a button. The Backbone also allows you to edit on their app. It's not full, you know, Adobe Suite editing capabilities, but it's still good enough to where you can clip and craft your own gameplay clips. One of the coolest parts about this controller is that it has faster charging. So what that means is the controller itself doesn't actually have a battery or doesn't actually itself require power. It instead uses the power of your iPhone, and mentioned on here is that it uses minimal power on your iPhone, so you could play for a very long time even with relatively low battery. But essentially you can charge your iPhone while playing with this controller. This also features a 3.5mm headphone jack, which is fantastic because a lot of our current iPhones, even mine, doesn't have a 3.5mm jack whatsoever. So if you do rely on that type of headphones, you can now easily connect them without the use of a dongle or a connector, which is pretty cool. But now, enough of talking about this box and just staring at it. Let's open it up and check out what it's inside. So they made it super easy to open it. There's this pull tab right here. Now, I don't know if you can see this on the table here, but the packaging is actually really fantastic. Once you pull off that sticker, it opens up and reveals a really clean, crisp black background and black box. In this black, you know, sleeve case that's come off of this box, it's written, play solo, play with friends, play with your arch enemies, play with your grandma, play with your brother, play with your boss, play with your neighbor, play with your crush, play with your long lost twin. Essentially, play with anybody, right? As long as they have a backbone. And now this is the box that the controller is nestled in. It's really crisp box. You can see the Backbone logo and name embossed on the front. Really fine. Now we can open this up. And this is what the controller looks like. So there's this thing right here to stop the controller from moving around within the box. So the first thing you see upon opening this box is this card. It's a purple card that says Snap In, Game On, and just has a couple of details about how to start up your controller and how to get things running. Essentially, all you have to do is snap in your iPhone and it's going to be ready to play. It's going to start integrating immediately and it should be good to go. Now again, this is what it looks like without the card. And this is the Backbone 1 controller. So as you can see, in my hand it's pretty small when it's collapsed. One of the Backbone's key features that makes it really cool but also really portable and easy to take with you anywhere you go is this right here. It's a collapsible, expandable bridge that allows you to fit any size phone. So it's compatible with a lot of different iPhone sizes. When you expand the controller, the Backbone logo shows up, and when it's collapsed, it's hidden by this bridge. All in all, as I mentioned before, the controller is super light, 5 ounces, so it can be taken anywhere, stored anywhere. I would recommend storing it in a place that's relatively safe because this bridge doesn't seem to be the strongest. So if you had it in a place where there was stress on either side, it could snap this bridge. Other than that, the controller fits really well in your hand, and I think the best way to describe what these toggle buttons feel like altogether is the Nintendo Switch. So if you've ever played with the Nintendo Switch or any variation of it, they have similar joysticks where it's responsive, it clicks back and forth relatively easily, so it springs back really well. Super clean design, all black. As I mentioned before, it mimics kind of like the style of the packaging we saw earlier, where it's all black except for one splash of color, which is the backbone button. And this is the button that allows you to go back to the backbone app, switch between games, add friends, join groups. It's kind of like the social button or the home button on the PlayStation or Xbox. You have the capture button right here that I mentioned earlier. So this is the button that allows you to record gameplay or clips really quickly, and then will allow you to edit them, and you can post them with the backbone app. As usual with any controller, we have a ABXY over here. And then on top of the controller, there are right bumpers and left bumpers, as well as right trigger and left trigger. Now the bumpers are, as you can hear, they're pretty responsive, they're clicky. The bumpers return relatively fast, and they're bouncy, and they feel pretty good when you click them down. The D-pad here is probably my least favorite part of this controller altogether, just in terms of feel. It doesn't feel as crisp as some of these other buttons. It doesn't feel as well developed as some of these other buttons. Thankfully, a lot of games don't use the D-pad, especially when you have the joysticks here as a better option. But it is available for some of those games, like in Call of Duty when you're calling in your kill streaks. It is a singular D-pad, however, so the whole thing, it's not separate buttons for right, left, down, up. So if I'm holding it, on my right side, I have the charging jack, which will allow you, as I mentioned before, to charge your iPhone using the controller. And as I also mentioned, on the left side holding it, there's the 3.5 millimeter headphone jack. So as I mentioned, these aren't on iPhone models, but this controller will allow you to use your 3.5 millimeter headsets or headphones when you're using this controller. So this is my phone, this is the controller. It's almost the exact same size. So there is one huge drawback to this controller, and it's that you can't really use a case with this thing. So most people I know, me included, like to use a case on their iPhone to protect it from fall damage and just altogether to keep it safe, keep it clean too. This thing does not work with most cases. In fact, does not work with almost any case. If you have an OtterBox or anything like that, good luck, because you can't use it with this whatsoever. I use a very thin plastic case. Really doesn't add too much size. It barely extends the length of the iPhone, right? And still it does not work with this controller. A couple of the reasons why it doesn't work is, one, the backbone like sides here that help to protect your phone and keep it clipped in don't reach the phone anymore. So that means that your phone isn't actually clipped into the backbone right now, and mine is kind of just being held on solely by this connector port. Now that's the other issue with this thing, is that with a case on, the iPhone does not fully connect to the connector port. The connector port is small enough to where it clicks into an iPhone directly without a case, but as soon as you add just that little bit of space that a case requires, just the little bit of space that's on the edge of a case, it disconnects, so it's not fully connected. So those are two main reasons why you cannot use a case with this controller. That to me is the biggest drawback, because the idea of having to remove my case every time I want to play with this controller is kind of a bummer. Especially when I'm out and about, I would hate to have to spend time removing my case, finding a place to put it, keeping my phone clean, connecting it to the backbone, and then once I'm done playing with it, have to reconnect it, re-put it in the case. It seems like a little bit of a process. If you have a skin tight one that's really thin, it might work, but if you have a case whatsoever, I would bet on it not working with the backbone. So I've removed the case, and you can see this is the iPhone 11 Max, 11 XS Max. See, now once the case has been removed, you can see that it actually fits perfectly in this controller. As I was mentioning before, these are the side clips that really help to keep your phone secured, keep your phone in the case. Now, you're gonna have to factor in the size of your own phone, because phones are relatively heavy, but my XS Max is a pretty heavy phone altogether, and you can really feel it when you're using the controller. There's a heavy weight on the center where your phone is because the controller is so light. The sides don't really have that much weight to help support the size of the controller, so there's a real focal weight down the center, and you'll feel it when you're gaming. It'll feel very light on the sides, but very heavy down the center. I think personally, I would have liked to have a little bit more weight on the sides of the controller. It's a little bit hard to describe, but just know that the weight of your phone will be felt in this controller. Still very portable, right? Still very portable, still very easy to see. The Backbone app is a separate app that will be downloaded off of the Apple Store when you use this controller. When you first connect it up, it'll ask you to download the app, and once you do that, then you can start using the controller, and it requires the app to be used. Now, the app is relatively small. It's about 180.5 MB in size, so it shouldn't take up too much space, and it's fantastic because it allows you to switch between all the different games you have on your phone seamlessly. It's actually really beautifully built in that it looks almost exactly like a PS5 or Xbox console screen, right? And the point of that is to make it seem like this is a game console in itself. You're holding the power of a game console in your mobile phone. It's console level gaming on the go. In the corner, it'll display your battery level, where you're at. It'll display internet connection, the time, the fact that the controller is connected up, and then it'll also display how many friends of yours are online. So that's one of the coolest aspects about this thing, is that socially, it's its own platform where it allows you to add friends, join their games. You can easily invite them to games of your own. You can join groups centered around specific games, so you can discuss them, talk about them. It really is a social platform on its own. You get to choose your own gamer tag, so you can choose whatever you want, and you'll also get to choose an emoji to represent your profile. So you can choose whatever emoji you want, and it has all the classic iPhone emojis. One thing I forgot to mention about these joysticks is they do have the ability to click down. Now, if you look at it, the buttons have pretty solid grounding. The one issue is they have a pretty narrow bridge, and it's very difficult to see. I wonder if you'll be able to see it. I doubt you will. But essentially, they have a very limited bridge right here that actually has some dangers of snapping. I've seen some reviews online of this controller that show that if you use it vigorously, if you use it very often, if you use it on the go rough, there's a chance that this might snap off. Now, as of right now, there are no replacement capabilities that allow you to add a new one in. You can always super glue your toggler back, but that is one drawback that could prevent some people. If you're really rough with your mobile controllers, if you're really rough with your controller altogether, you might need to be careful with this one because it's not as foolproof. The controller is plastic. Now, as much as I would wish for it to be metal or something, it is plastic. That's what makes it so light and portable. Less durable, more lightweight material. The menu is fantastic, and as I said, the best part about this controller is definitely the app that it comes with. The app is free, and it's really well made. There's haptic feedback, very light haptic feedback, but there's haptic feedback when you scroll through the menu options. And the coolest thing about the app is that from the interface, you can purchase or download games instantly. You don't have to jump back to the Apple app to get a game. You don't have to jump back to the Apple app to download an update. All of it can be done through the Backbone app. The screen also features news about games. So, I love Call of Duty, and so it's showing me right now that Season 5 just came out, and it does that for a bunch of other games. So you can always keep up to date with what's going on in your favorite games and what games you need to check up in on again. Now, one thing I will say, for Call of Duty specifically and a few other games, if you play with the Backbone controller, the game recognizes Backbone as a controller and it will place you in matches with other controller players. So that's one of the things that in the past used to be a huge benefit of having a mobile controller, is that you could hop into games randomly and you'll be playing against people without mobile controllers, and that would give you a huge leg up. Now with that balance system in, where you're now going to automatically be paired up with mobile controller players and you can't really choose otherwise, that leg up has been removed. So because of that, don't expect to jump into games and immediately go 20-0. Don't expect to jump into games and be like a master, because you're playing against other people with mobile controllers. So all in all, this is a quick showcase as to what the Backbone can do for you. I've mentioned some of its positives, some of its negatives. In terms of if I recommend it for you specifically, taking into account everything that I've mentioned in this video, you can make the decision for yourself. But all in all, I would say there's a couple things to consider mainly before making this purchase. One is, do you have a compatible iPhone? Second thing you need to consider is, how often do you mobile game? You know, if you play mobile games consistently, frequently, then I recommend this controller. If you don't, it is at a relatively high price point at this point, $100. So because of that, it could be a drawback for somebody who doesn't play mobile games frequently. In terms of quality of controller, as I said, it's fantastic, and it comes with the app that really helps to set this controller apart from all the other controllers currently on the market. But in terms of the controller itself, the materials are not, metal. They're not extremely stable or sturdy. They're super lightweight. So if you're someone who really prioritizes the portability of your mobile controller, then you might want to opt for Backbone 1. If you're someone who prioritizes the durability of your mobile controller and you need it to be very strong, you might want to double think on this one. Now, I'm not saying it's gonna break, because it most likely wouldn't. But again, if you are someone who's a little bit rough, that could be an issue you run into. The final most important thing I would ask you to consider, the thing that really would prevent me from purchasing this product, let's say in the future again, is the idea that you need to take out your case to play it. So with all that considered, you can make the decision as to whether to purchase this product or not. I would recommend it. It's a fantastic product. The app itself is so fantastic, and if you do mobile game a lot, if you have Xbox Game Pass Ultimate, if you have PS5 or PS4 Remote Play, if you have Apple Arcade, I would say this is a definite fantastic addition. Because if you play on those platforms frequently, if you play with those games frequently, this will help you make your phone into a controller. But again, let me know in the comments below if there's any questions you still have, and I'd love to answer them. Thank you so much for checking it out. Leave a like and subscribe if you like this video, or if you'd like to see more videos like this in the future. And until next time, I'll catch y'all later.